is the first African member state to host TICAD outside of Japan. And this is in line, of course, with our desire to continue providing leadership in terms of driving Africa's development and its partnership with other countries from across the world. TICAD 6, you will recall, was a resounding success, bringing together more than 100 companies from across the continent to interact with their Japanese counterparts. We had more than 70 memorandums of understanding signed by African and Japanese companies. And in a sense, it was a platform that grew the footprint of Japanese investment in Africa. So even as a way of just looking at what were the successes, first of all, it reaffirmed our ability to convene the world in Kenya. And you know that from that time, our country has continued to be a primary convener. TICAD 6 was part of the affirmation of that branding of our country, and we continue to be conferencing a city of choice, really. We, from a bilateral point of view, we have seen the growth of Japanese investment. If we take Tusho, the conglomerate of Toyota, you can see how much they have grown. We know they are already beginning a number of assembling plants for the Hilux, for the Hills, for a whole range. In fact, they were telling me the idea is to produce more than 10 types of vehicles out of our country. So, and this, of course, speaks to our priority on manufacturing. You will know that the revival of the motor industry has been one of the priorities of this administration, and so the investment of Japan has continued to expand this priority of President Uhuru Kenyatta's government. But it is not just in manufacturing. We know they are also involved in the health sector. We know they are also involved in capacity building, in technology transfer. So we know they have been engaged in the modernization of the Mombasa port, which is very, very important as a gateway, not just for ourselves, but for the region. So they have been involved in renewable energy, and there's a lot of discussion about them expanding off-grid production of renewable green energy. So we have seen a considerable growth of Japanese investment here. We will continue to strengthen our relationship with Japan. And by strengthening that relationship with Japan, we will be negotiating to access the opportunities in terms of resources, in terms of investment portfolios that Japan has to offer within the framework of TICAD, And it is very important for Kenyans to know that we are among the top beneficiaries of TICAD, And the reason for that is because we have the right environment, regulatory environment. We have the right environment in terms of business, servicing business and investment. So we become a place of choice for investment. And so we expect to continue seeing more interest by Japanese companies, to invest, but also to invest together with Kenyan capital and Kenyan business people. We will be speaking to the Japanese around questions of helping SMEs to scale up, because we know our country is largely made up of a huge portfolio of small and medium enterprises. And so part of the discussions we'll be having with them is how we can provide a framework of support where SMEs can access both support in terms of finance, in terms of technology, in terms of capacity to grow. By their growing, they are not just increasing production, but they are also creating the jobs that we are looking for. First of all, President Kenyatta is the global youth champion. And you will know that the youth are core to his development agenda. He believes, and rightly so, that it is the youth who are going to push us to our prosperity, And he does not just believe this, but he has gone on to create farm structures and a whole set of a toolkit to support this. That is why we have the youth fund in the beginning. Now it's going to be Biashara Bank. But in addition to that, all our discussions with partners, whether it is MasterCards, whether it is the discussions we are having with Singapore on fintech, and it was very interesting to see the exhibition at the fintech meeting that happened at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. More than 70% of the exhibitors were young people, because these are the people who are having all this bubbling with all these new ideas. So there is no doubt that the youth are at the heart of President Kenyatta's visioning of his development trajectory. So it's not where is he seeing the youth? The youth are they're the ones driving this. If you go to the high hub, it is a youth theater. It is a youth theater. And what we are trying to do is really to begin discussions around questions of patent and intellectual property so that we can protect these innovations. But number two, beginning to link those innovations with industry so that we can begin to scale them up. There is no reason why they should remain as projects, classroom projects. A lot of these are good ideas, but we want to move them from being good ideas to business ideas that are bankable and that you can scale and that you can get to the market and that you can push and take advantage of the, as I said, 1.2 billion African market. We have to engage with this. And this will only be done with the driver, and this driver are the youth.